Hey guys, who's ready for part 2 of the VK driver's door refurb? Let's get into it. Okay, so I have sanded back the door frame with 400 and then we'll give that a spray with black paint before we mask up the window and all that kind of stuff. I have rubbed back the rest of it with 400, so it's ready to go, but today I'm going to be playing around with the window. We're going to grease up the gears, bit of silicone spray in the tracks just to make it a bit faster. So we'll do a test run of how quick the window goes up and down without it, and then we'll test it with it and see if there's any difference. All right, so here we go before. Okay, so that's before, and this was the fastest, best window in the car. Let's see if we can make that a bit better with the spray and greasing, and we'll see how we go. Let's get to it. Okay, so I've greased the gears, siliconed the tracks, give it a few runs up and down, and I tell you what, it goes up a lot better than what it used to. Down about the same, but a hell of a lot quieter. So let's take a look. For those that are interested, I greased up this gear here, put some grease in the spring, and then got the silicone spray into the Bailey channels or whatever they're called, all the way up and down. Sprayed that in there and it's made a heck of a difference. So that window is good to go. On to the next job. Howdy y'all. Today we're going to get working back on the door. We're going to hit it with some primer, and I'm not going to use the gun again. I'm going to use spray cans because it's a lot easier than mixing up paint and all that kind of stuff. So yes, I'm going to spray can some primer on that. But first we have to go from my old ratty workbench to a new one, which you can see up in this corner here. We've got a proper panel stand that we're going to stick it on, and we'll get priming. Let's get to it. Okay, so everything's masked up now. Now I like with the back here, leave a little bit here, so when we go for colour we get a little bit of overspray on there, make it look a bit factory. We've got a hole there, so we need to patch that up. Now, previously I have done the blackouts on the tops of the doors. That's black paint obviously, and then clear coat over. I didn't film any of that, but you can see all that when I probably in the next video after this. But we're ready to start undercoating the insides of the door, and then we'll flip it over and do the outside of the door. Here we go. Hello. So I've decided after priming down the door, it needs some high fill because there's pinholes and scratches and all that kind of stuff in it. So I really have to do some high fill. So we'll fill it with high fill and then we'll go with a primer after that before colour. It's not what I wanted to do, but it's what I have to do. So I'll set up and we'll get ready for that. Ooh, got that done. You know, it's harder to clean up all the mess with the gun and everything after the fact that you painted than doing the actual painting yourself. So I think I got it pretty good coverage on that. I put a bit too much paint in the gun, so did a little bit back at the end, but that's okay. And I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so it appears that I filled up the little imperfections and pinholes and scratches and stuff. It's very yellow, but that's okay. We'll sand him back before we hit it with the final primer, and Bob will be our uncle. Now, I did get overspray on the cars because there's not much room, but that's going to be sanded back anyway. And then we've got the Valiant one. That's going to be sanded back anyway when I get to that, so no big issues. I didn't really want it on the wheels or chrome mouldings or windows, the glass, and I appear to have kept those things pretty clean. It helps when you have a layer of dust, which protects as well, so that's always good. All right, guys, I will get some sanding on that, and we'll let that dry first properly, and we'll get back to you when that time comes. Hey guys, another day, more sanding, and just a little bit more sanding done. I've rubbed back the high fill and the imperfections I put in a thing called spot putty. I've never used that before and I like it. I like it a lot. Now, that just fills in your little pinholes and that kind of stuff. No mixing, just straight out of the tin, slap it on, air dry, good to go. But don't put it on too thick, because when you go to sand it, it breaks bits off and then it takes chunks further down than what you want. So don't put it on too thick, just thin coats and you'll be all right. So let's have a look. Here is the sanded back door. In the little pink bits that you can see in there, that is the spot putty, and there was a low spot there. Now it's gone, and I have gone through to the epoxy on places, but that doesn't matter. So the next step on this will be primer. And I'm going to flip this door over and start that the other side, and then do that, give that a few proper coats. It's only a light coat when I did it underneath with the high fill, because we're not too worried about marks and stuff on there. So these dark lines that you see here are from the old Roofski. So pay no attention to those, they're just shadows, but I'll tell you what, this thing is as smooth as a baby's bum. I'm damn happy with it. Now, I'm pretty sure I've got all the scratches and everything out. So we're not gonna have, I'm hoping we don't have issues with the final coat with scratches in it, but we'll hit it with primer and then we'll see how that turns out. But if it turns out anything like this, it's gonna be mint. Not green, good. I mean good. All right, let's get priming. So primer is dry, ready to sand back. And we got a few blobs in the while we're painting it, but that doesn't matter because we're going to sand that back out. Now I can't see any little imperfections, so that's a good sign. So just before I get to sanding on the primed door, that will end. I will end this video here and get to sanding. So all that, probably not the sanding, but the color, the clear coat, wet sanding will be all in part 3 of this driver's side door. So thanks for watching and we'll see you next time. Ciao, ciao.